Absolute historic moves in the precious metal sector. The silver price, the gold price, volatility like we haven't seen in decades. We're going to talk about why this can continue and can continue in a good way for investors in silver and gold. We've got probably the biggest show that I've ever put together for you. More data to look at, crazy data. We're going to talk about $27,000 gold. We're going to talk about silver, $200. Even someone who's talking about silver hitting $550 this year. Unbelievable events are occurring right now. We're doing it together. I want to say thank you for joining us down here in the basement on behalf of upstairs Susie and myself. It's a big deal when you come here. Your time is valuable. It's free to subscribe to the channel. Please press the subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps. Leave a comment in the comment section so we can learn about you and learn from you, right? We're a community down here. Let's dig into what's going on. It has been crazy, but we're going to make sense of all of this today in this live stream video. Let's go out and take a quick look at what is happening right now in the silver and gold market. We're going to head out to Kitco, who shows us we have the silver price up $3 per ounce, 106.78. Gold trying to get back through that $5,100 level. Let's look at the futures market and see what we have on silver. Okay, 106.40. Why it's showing down $9, I don't get it. But nonetheless, we're currently at 106.38 in the futures market, which should be, and I'm sharing the right screen now, sorry about that, which should be higher than the spot price. And no, it's not. The spot price is actually higher, as you can see here again. So that means that the market is once again in a state of backwardation, which is an unusual occurrence in any commodity market, very unusual in the silver and gold market. And what some people speculate that means is that maybe because the spot price, the current price, is higher than the futures price, that means that possibly some people are a little concerned about their ability to get their actual silver delivered to them out in March, which is when those futures contracts will expire. Let's talk about crazy volatility, guys. Big moves are accompanied by big volatility. Yesterday, we set records. We have some data to look at that is absolutely mind-numbing, but I want to say this to you first. There's an old saying in the world of investing, and that is that a bull market, a good market like we are experiencing right now in silver, will try to buck off as many people as possible, like a rodeo, like if you came to Missouri and we went to a rodeo, the bull tries to throw the bull rider off. The reason why is because those are people that don't have true conviction. And the other reason why is that any bull market climbs a wall of worry. Look, we don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not a financial advisor. You know that. I believe we will see much, much higher, even from here, silver and gold prices. But there's going to be worry. It's called a wall of worry. And that's when the chicken littles are the people that don't have strong conviction get out. Could you imagine? Think about this. If we're able to stay above $100 in the silver price, consolidate, build another strong base at $100, please remember quickly, 1 year ago, we sat down here and talked about silver at $35 an ounce and hoping that it would get above 40, which as we know that it did. So if we can consolidate, build another strong base, consolidation means just that, right? The bull throws off the chicken littles that aren't truly feeling a strong level of conviction about the market, and they're replaced by new people who do have strong conviction. And wait till you hear the data we got coming later about how the word about silver, it's starting to spread around. We got a lot to look forward to. Now, let's first look at the crazy data about what happened yesterday. I will share the proper screen with you. We're going to go here first. This kind of explains yesterday's correction. This is from William Middlecoop, super respected name in the precious metal sector. And he retweeted this from TF Metals report that said yesterday was just your bankers, with a friendly reminder that tomorrow, that would be today, is the COMEX option expiration day. Wait until, and the price of silver always gets manipulated. And Well, you're not going to believe the next data I'm going to show you, but the price of silver always gets manipulated around the COMEX close. Volume and bid offer size falls by 80%. Attempt to start a profit-taking cascade in order to get prices as low as possible before what is now today's options price close. And wait till you see this. This comes from the Metals and Miners Substack. This is incredible, guys. Once in 14,000 years. Think about that, 14,000 years. The Great Silver Shakeout. Silver's 15%, 5 sigma intraday trading swing. Huge volatility. We're going to talk about the Shanghai Premium here a little bit later as well. But let's go down and talk and see what this 3 paragraphs sums it up. Yesterday will be remembered as the day that silver went certifiably insane. Probably drove a little bit of us insane as well. In the span of just a few hours, the price of silver rocketed from approximately $103 to an all-time high of $117, 14% gain. It was a move of breathtaking violence, a parabolic explosion that had the entire financial world watching in a mixture of awe and terror. And then, just as quickly as it had risen, it was knocked down, crashing back to the 105 level in a brutal, gut-wrenching reversal. In yellow, okay, take a deep breath, take your blood pressure medicine. This 15% intraday range represents a 5 sigma event. Whatever that means, right? That's a statistical measurement that statisticians understand, okay? A statistical anomaly so rare that it is expected to occur only once every 13,932 years. I took the liberty of rounding up. Guys, remember, big moves are accompanied by big volatility, but it gets even more interesting when we hear what the Kobesi letter had to say about the insanity. And they said silver just swung nearly $2 trillion of market cap in 14 hours. Between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., silver added $500 billion of market cap. That was the big move up. Then between 1 p.m. and 4:30 p.m., silver lost $950 billion in market cap. Then silver came back between 4:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. It added back another $500 billion in market cap. This is where it's crazy. Again, take a deep breath. Silver is quite literally throwing around Bitcoin's entire market cap in a matter of hours. Okay, think about that. Pretty much Bitcoin's market cap was swung around within the silver market in a matter of hours. The current situation in silver will be referenced for decades and decades to come. All right, now let's take a look. You know this is going to be fun. Let's take a look at what happened in the paper markets yesterday. I think we may have set a record. I don't know for sure, but it's absolutely astounding. And there's a big reason why we want to look at this, because we're going to go check out our good channel friend, the Dude, who I've never met or never talked to, but I consider him a friend because he puts this great data out every single day. And the Dude says this: the silver market traded 1.8 billion paper ounces yesterday. In purple, that means they traded 2.25 years worth of mining supply in one trading session. He says, you don't own enough physical silver, okay, and we don't have much time. Absolutely astounding. There's the data from yesterday on Monday. I mean, absolutely incredible. But what about, and we talk about this all the time, what we really want to watch, the real price of silver, because that's where the physical demand is coming from. It's coming from China. And let's take a look at the latest breaking data we have out of China in regard to the silver price. And we're going to go check in with the Oriental Ghost for that. And he gives us some absolute and astounding data. This is January 27th, which is today right now. Precious metals data from the Chinese market. For those of you who are new, this is the SGE, which stands for the Shanghai Gold Exchange. That is China's physical gold market. It's their spot market. Big difference, though. In their physical market, you got to actually have the physical metal. So we've talked about this for years down here in the basement together. It's the best pricing mechanism for actual physical metal in the world. Couple that with the fact that China and India are becoming economic superpowers and basically vacuuming in all the world's silver. I digress. Let's go take a look at what happened with silver. See it right there? AG. That's the periodic symbol for silver. Oh my gosh. Physical silver closed on the Shanghai Gold Exchange at nearly $130, $128.48 per ounce. Another interesting thing is that the vaults, which are running low in China, also lost 29,000 kilograms on the Shanghai Futures Exchange. Very, very interesting. The Shanghai Gold Exchange looks like it had no change, or they forgot to add that field in. But let's take a look at two things very interesting on this. Okay, number one. Okay, remember that theory of backwardation, that very strange situation where the spot market, that's the Shanghai Gold Exchange, is actually higher. The SHFE is the Shanghai Futures Exchange. And looky here, not only is it the United States in backwardation, but the futures price for silver in China right there is lower than the spot market. They even have a little more of an extreme situation in terms of backwardation, which again indicates that even in China there may be some concern about future deliveries of silver. But one more time, memorize this number. Let's see how much higher the silver price in China is in the United States. $128.48. And if we go to Kitco to get our spot price, and you know what, just because we're having fun today, 106.53, which, if my math is correct, is exactly $22 per ounce premium to get that's the actual physical market, the Shanghai Gold Exchange, right? $22 more per ounce in China than the United States. Guys, that's called an opportunity for what is referred to as arbitrage. That's why you get everyone talking about the fact that India and China are vacuuming in all the world's silver, because you can, quote unquote, buy silver in the United States, sell it in China for $20 more per ounce. And it appears that there is no end in sight with this Chinese silver market. I've got a special sponsor of today's video, Apollo Silver. I'm going to play for you a 3-minute video about them right now with some great information about what's happening in silver. Then we'll be back because we got to talk about silver's that it's working. It's spreading all around the world. And we've got some crazy data to prove to you that that is indeed the case. We got another interesting source of interest, which also corroborates the fact that it's spreading, has to do with crypto. We're going to talk about that. And of course, we're going to talk about $550 silver, $200 silver, $27,000 gold. Here's a video from today's sponsor, Apollo Silver. Apollo Silver is a junior mining company positioned to become a key U.S. supplier of silver, a critical catalyst metal essential for everything from AI data centers and solar energy to missile systems and 5G infrastructure. Apollo controls over 125 million ounces of measured and indicated silver and 57 million ounces inferred in one of the largest undeveloped deposits in the United States. As America races to secure its mineral independence from China, Apollo's Calico project could become a cornerstone of national security, industrial resilience, and investor returns. With additional exposure to barite and zinc, both critical minerals, and a seasoned management team behind billion-dollar exits, Apollo Silver offers asymmetric upside as silver demand explodes. And global demand for silver is exploding. Current supplies coming from the mining sector just can't keep up with demand. Plus, silver had been trading at its most extreme relative undervaluation to gold, a historic 85-to-1 plus ratio just within the past 2 years. Every time this ratio spikes, silver has delivered explosive gains of up to 400%. And this time, Apollo Silver could be the rocket ship. That's why we're talking about America's secret silver reserve. Deep in the Mojave Desert is a forgotten $250 billion silver district, and Apollo Silver is ready to kick it back into production. With 125 million ounces in measured and indicated resources and an additional 57 million ounces inferred, their Calico project could be the asset that reboots American silver dominance. Because silver is becoming a critical national security asset. The Pentagon consumes more silver than many countries produce. With China stockpiling and Trump declaring critical mineral independence, Apollo's U.S.-based silver project is more than a mine. It's a strategic domestic security asset. But Apollo Silver's Calico project isn't just the largest untapped silver resource in the U.S. Their project also holds high-grade barite and zinc, both critical to U.S. energy and defense, giving this stock multiple shots at upside and Fast 41 permitting acceleration. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Apollo Silver. You can learn more about the company at apollosilver.com. The stock trades in Canada with the symbol APGO and in the United States with the symbol APGOF. Thanks to Apollo Silver for sponsoring this video. Yes, thank you, Apollo Silver, for sponsoring this video. And please, guys, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research. Speaking of silver companies, the former CEO of the United States' oldest and largest silver mining company had two shocking things to say about silver. We're going to get to that after we talk about the fact that, hey, in the United States right now, the retail local coin shop silver market is pretty screwed up, okay? And look, retail demand for silver is important. It is one of the factors that affects the silver price, but absolutely not critical. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen with that. But on a worldwide basis, I've got something I want to share with you that nobody else is talking about, an insight that I think tells us that overall, remember, silver is a worldwide market. It's just not in Boise, Idaho, or St. Louis, Missouri, or Tampa, Florida. It is everywhere. And when we look at the big picture, I think we can be very happy. I'll explain to you why right now. Let's first go all the way to Singapore to get an update on what we have happening in Singapore with silver right now. Let me make sure I got you on the right screen. We're kind of recalibrating here. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. Here we go. Okay, from Bullion Star. This is like the premier bullion dealer in Singapore. They put this out, gold and silver at all-time highs. This was yesterday. Our bullion center today, every counter active. Customers browsing coins and bars at our displays, continuous transactions. Record prices are driving record demand. This is what the exit from fiat looks like. So all throughout the world, China, the East, India, we're getting reports that retail silver buying is robust. Remember, guys, it's not just small town, big town America, right? This is a worldwide market. So think about that. Number one, when we talk about retail silver demand, we have the Asian markets. The local coin shops, you see these videos on YouTube and the guys are like, yeah, people are trying to sell more silver than they're trying to buy. A lot of the coin shops have stopped buying silver. I'll talk about that a little more in a second, but they're reporting that sales are moderate at best. But what's interesting, and I haven't heard anybody else point this out, when you look at the online bullion dealers, they all have shipping delays. I wouldn't say shortage, but definitely stress in their inventory. You can cherry pick and say, well, look at this online bullion dealer has no American Silver Eagles, and this one has no 10-ounce bars. There's definitely signs of stress. And why that's important for us to realize is because I think the online bullion dealers, right? It's the future. Nothing against local coin shops. I love my local coin shop, whatever, right? But most retail now in any sector, clothing, think about Amazon, whatever, is moving online. So the online dealers, I think, are a better measurement of overall demand. And if we look at what the CEO of APMEX is telling us, right, his daily letter saying, sorry, we can't keep up. We can't keep up. And when you go on any online bullion dealer and look, and there's a big red box at the top that says, be prepared for shipping delays, and we're out of a lot of stuff. That tells us when we think about Asia, right, demand from the retail side, and we're just talking retail from Asia in the online, I think it signifies that there is robust demand for the metals. The coin shops, yeah, whatever. And sure, yes, a lot of them have stopped buying back silver right now. The whole retail local coin shop silver market is kind of screwed up, is what I'm observing. Okay. And we are in unprecedented times. Remember, big moves in silver, big moves in the metals are going to be accompanied by major volatility. That major volatility is screwing things up at the refiners and on the wholesale level, both of which a lot of the local coin shops interact with. Okay. So the big takeaway here is take a step back, look at things on a worldwide basis, look at what's going on outside the United States with retail silver purchases. We get crazy reports from Australia, South America, everywhere, right? And think about the fact that the online bullion dealers, who I think are, I don't know, I have no idea, but what do you think? I bet online bullion dealers now account for, at least half, maybe 60 or 70% of all silver and gold sales. The CEO of the United States, former CEO of the United States, largest and oldest silver mining company, dropped a couple truth bombs. We're going to watch a little 1-minute video that was put out by Mark on X, and then we're going to talk about the first point, but the second point, which I think is something that all silver investors can rejoice over. Here it is right here. It's about 1 minute, 20 seconds long. Here we go.
I was speaking to someone, and I can't confirm this, but they were saying that they were speaking to people in the administration that are looking at increasing the critical stockpile of silver, which, you haven't seen that for decades. So yes, the demand for silver, putting it in inventory somewhere where you have access to it, whether it's the exchanges, whether it's manufacturers, whether it's governments, or just individuals, is on the rise. Remember, peak silver was in 2016. So a decade ago, we produced more silver than we have in any year since, and we will continue to see 2016 as the peak until at least 2030. There is not enough projects that can go into production in the next 4 or 5 years. It's just not going to happen. But if you look at the average cost of the primary silver producers, somewhere below $20 is where it has been.
Okay, guys, 2 massive good things for the world of silver. Number one, he said he talked to somebody who he can't divulge that says that the U.S. government is considering a strategic stockpile of silver. I wonder what that would do for silver demand. But even more important, right? He pointed out 2016, and it didn't really dawn on me until I listened to this interview. 2016 was peak silver production in the world by all mining efforts combined, right? Only like 30% of silver production comes from actual primary silver mines. 2016. That was, like he said, almost 10 years ago. Now, take a step back and think about, as demand for silver continues to skyrocket. We just talked about the Chinese and the Indian vacuum that's sucking it all in. Remember, there's a reason why silver costs $22 more per ounce in China than the United States. But we had peak silver production almost 10 years ago. And then our friend Phillips drops another truth bomb, right? That it's going to be the earliest 2030 until the mining sector can actually increase output of silver. That's 4 years from now. So for the last 10 years, the amount of silver being produced has gone down, and it's going to be 4 years until it can even start to go back up. And that's in an environment where demand for silver is absolutely exploding. Are you feeling warm and fuzzy about silver? I am, okay? And it's starting to spread. All right, it's starting. Look, we talk about it all the time. You and I, we're like the green berets of the world of finance and money, right? Like, we did the work, we studied. But now that first layer, some call it, and I think we'll call it phase one, is starting to occur. Of course, they're not going to have big segments about the future of silver on CNBC yet, but it's happening in phase one. And this is probably somebody you've never heard of, but I'll explain to you why that's a good thing. Let's go out and check out who said something interesting about precious metals. He was referring to gold, but when they refer to gold, right, gold's the granddaddy. Gold, silver, same thing. Mario Nawfal, you've never heard of him, and that's a good thing. I'll explain to you why. Tweeted this: gold breaks above 5,100, setting a new all-time high. Why? And let's just look at Mario here for a second. He's got, okay, there it is. It keeps blinking on and off. 2.8 million. I'll do it a few more times, but if you look, 2.8 million followers on X, okay? Why is that good? Why is it good that you probably haven't heard of him and I don't really know much about him? Because that means the word about precious metals is spreading beyond our bubble, right? We live in a precious metals bubble. You guys are hanging out with me in the basement. That's all we do. You're down here. I'd like to think it's because of my boyish good looks and dynamic personality, but the truth is you want to hear about gold and silver. Mario Nawfal is outside of our bubble. He has 3 million followers. The fact that we don't really know who he is a good thing. That means people outside of our bubble, I'll say it for the last time, are starting to hear about gold and silver. And it's happening with people like Tucker Carlson. It's happening with other major influential people. That is just phase one. Okay. Phase two, phase three. Right. And then when I'm featured on CNBC being interviewed about a guy in St. Louis who talked about silver for years and years, then we'll know maybe it's time to think about converting some of our silver into something else. But we are early stages. If this were a baseball game, I think we're in the second or third inning at the most, right? Second inning. Okay. So keep an eye on that. Another one. Oh, and this is unbelievable, that will show us that the word about precious metals is spreading. This came from George Gammon. This is super interesting. So George Gammon is a highly respected guy in the financial world. He's got, I think, like 300,000 followers. He puts out a warning. So, but then it gets more interesting. Silver price is long past fundamentals. Now it's about speculative flows. I'm watching the chart closely and paying attention to sentiment like this. And get this. This comes from a guy named Andreas Steno Larsen, who, let's just pull this up real quick, and then we'll go back. Steno Research, serial entrepreneur. He's got almost 300,000 followers, always looking for the next 5 to 10x case. Bob, okay, he's part of Real Vision, which is more of a crypto-oriented channel. This is interesting, though. Andreas says, I'm coming from a 4-day crypto meetup. And I think what George said is 100% correct. We were at a crypto conference, but everybody talked about silver. Now, I love crypto. I love gold and silver. I love it all, right? Anything that's outside the fiat system. But this guy's talking about being at a crypto conference and everybody talking about silver. What that shows us, the big key takeaway, is that it is spreading. I promised you $200 silver. We're going to get there next. I do want to say thank you to my recurring normal sponsors. First Mint, right? The silver mint specialist in Las Vegas, Nevada. Check them out at firstmint.com. And First Mining Gold, development stage gold mining company with 2 multi-million ounce development stage projects in Canada. You can check them out at firstmininggold.com. How does the prospect of 2 $500 silver. And then we're going to get to $550 silver from another prominent figure in the world of precious metals. But $27,000 gold, that's because he's at it again. Okay, I don't know how do you feel about Robert Kiyosaki? I'm like right in the middle. Some people love him. Some people are a little critical of him, but the guy's been right about a lot of things, and he's very wealthy, and he's like a super mega best-selling author, and he loves gold and silver. And he says this, just to get an update about, hold on here. We'll go to gold first. Hold on. And then we'll go back to silver. Robert Kiyosaki put this out. Gold soars over $5,000. Yay! Okay, I will. Thank you. Upstairs Susie chimed in. I will. Thank you guys for the super chats. Super appreciated. Never, ever, ever expected. But he says gold soared past 5,000. Yay. He talked about buying gold initially back, I believe it was during the Vietnam War when he was in Vietnam. Okay. This guy's been a gold and silver bug for decades. The future for gold, $27,000. And then we're going to get to silver. But that's a number that gets thrown around a lot. And there's an important reason why. Because a lot of people think that if the U.S. government is going to, how do I say this? Revalue all that gold that we have. Some people say supposedly have because it hasn't been audited in 5 decades in Fort Knox, right? That it could be at a level like that, $27,000. But something real key for us to remember, President Donald Trump, not a political statement, but he loves gold. There was a time like 8 years ago, if you weren't in the precious metal sector, where it was a big headline story that he accepted gold as payment for rent on one of his buildings. President Donald Trump also loves debt. That's been proven by his background. President Donald Trump likes ultra low interest rates. We're going to talk about there's a Fed decision tomorrow. Our old friend Jerome Powell's back. We'll talk about that. And President Trump loves, a weak dollar, all of which support, but wait, there's more, all of which support higher precious metals prices as we head into the coming months, quarters, and years. And there is more, because our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, okay, he's also a guy that loves gold. There was a big deal before he was initiated, designated, whatever it is, to become Treasury Secretary, took the place of our old friend Janet Yellen. Remember her? Right. And people were like, look, he's a gold bug. He's a gold bug. They had interviews with him from years ago where he talked very favorably about gold. So $27,000 gold is not out of the question. Back to Robert Kiyosaki, $200 silver, and boom. Robert Kiyosaki says why silver is superior. In purple, gold and silver have been money for thousands of years, but in today's technology age, silver is elevated into an economic structural metal, much like iron was the structural metal of the industrial age. In 1990, I don't want to hear this because I was alive. I was 20 years old. Silver, how old were you in 1990? You could buy an ounce of silver for $5 an ounce. Today, in 2026, I'm going to tell you when I bought my first ounce, by the way, because I just remember this. Silver is $92 an ounce. Okay, this is a little bit older and growing, more vital, like 102 an ounce now, 103, as the structural metal of the world's economic future, a store of value and is money. I'm still calling for silver to hit $200 an ounce in 2026. All right, now we're going to get to the 550 prediction here in a second. But as I was saying that, I remember my very first, I bought an American Silver Eagle for upstairs Susie as a birthday present one year, and I still have it. And we've been married 20 years. So that would have been, I guess, around 2004. I wonder what I paid for that. I'll have to look back. Anyhow, you have your first ounce you bought. When did you buy your first ounce? Put it in the chat. Share it with your fellow basement dwellers, okay?
21 years.
Oh, we've been married 21 years. Feels like just a day. It's so much fun being married to the one and only, right? That's right. That's upstairs Susie. For those of you who are new, that's my lovely wife and assistant. $550 silver. Let's look at the gold and silver market cap ranking. Man, we got a lot more to get through here, guys. Wrong one, wrong one. Why is this important? Breaking, gold's market cap officially hit 35 trillion and silver's market cap at 6 trillion. It might be a little bit down from that. Gold and silver are now worth 9 times the market cap of Nvidia. That brings, did I forget to do share screen? Hold on. I did. You had to watch me read. I'm going to pull the screen up now. There you go. Okay. That brings new attention, right? Everybody looks at that chart. All the big hedge funds, all the big institutional investors, all the private family wealth offices, however you want to say it. Okay. And it's also proof that we are in a new monetary, financial, economic, however the heck you want to say it, paradigm. Okay, let's go. Let's go to, I promised you $550 silver. Here it is right here. Hold on one second. This comes from, and there's something very, very powerful in this. But first, from the Silver Academy, talked about the high price of silver in Shanghai, government shutdown. And we got to talk about the Fed decision tomorrow too, guys. There's a secret factor why we can be very excited about what's going to happen tomorrow with the Fed decision. But the Silver Academy has a silver target of 550. I had a special surprise to you. 550 minimum to $750 per ounce by Thanksgiving Day 2026. But wait, there's more, because remember Philip Baker, this ex-CEO of Hecla Mining, talking about the big, massive silver reserve that the United States is going to do on a government level. Well, think about this. He points out the West is now alert to the new reality of silver. Funny stuff over here on the left side of this graphic, right? All these headlines from AP. Lawmakers propose 2.5 billion critical mineral reserves, strategic 2.5 billion. Think about this. I'm going to circle it because it's so true. Okay. It's too little, too late. $2.5 billion is less than what we pay every day in interest to service our United States debt. Let that sink in, okay? They can talk about 2.5 billion in silver. No, we're going to need a lot more by the time we get when the hens come home to roost for the U.S. dollar. It's going to be the only thing, guys, this is big. The only thing that's going to fix, whether we're talking about the retail silver market, the big geopolitical changes that are going on, right? The high level impact that's having on the silver market, China and India vacuuming in all the world's silver, like we talked about earlier. There's only one thing that's going to fix that. There's only one thing throughout history. We're talking thousands of years of history that fixes what's going on in the silver. And you can also argue the gold market as well. And that's higher prices. Man, do you think it's possible, right? I think it's possible that we could consolidate above $100 in silver. If we consolidate above 90, 80, even 70, don't throw eggs at me. I don't want it to happen. I'm not predicting it's going to happen. Even if we were to consolidate above $60 per ounce, we're in this for the long term, right? Price will fix the imbalances that we have in the market right now. Not paper, not make-believe, Fantasy Island silver, right? Fantasy Island, remember that TV show from the 80s with the smaller man who was with the bigger man? It was Fantasy Island. Anything was possible. That's what we call the silver that's on the COMEX and the LBMA. Fantasy Island silver. The little guy's name was Tattoo. He would come out when the new guests were coming and say, deplane, right? That's what we're dealing with right now with the paper silver market. Leverage to what? 350, 450 to 1. And the gig is up. Now, this is shocking because, look, I've been making videos about precious metals for years and years and years. And one of the biggest events that we would always talk about was the Federal Reserve's decision on monetary policy. They have meetings like every 4-6 weeks, whatever the heck it is. Doesn't really make sense when they do it. Anyway, we've got that coming tomorrow, but there's a big bonus feature that we can be excited about. embedded in the data that we're going to look at next about the Fed. And yes, that's this guy right here. I apologize. You guys have been giving me a hard time. Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve, he's in his final days, right? He's the man who likes to print toilet paper dollars. That's not the big fact. This is super interesting. And you're going to have an aha moment. You don't have to take your blood pressure medicine, because this is good news and an aha moment when it comes to what is happening right now in the world of monetary policy and precious metals. Let me pull this up. This is the CME Group FedWatch tool. This gives us probably the most accurate expectation. This is how the big money is betting on what the interest rate decision will be tomorrow. As you can see right here, it tells us that we have 1 day, 0 hours, and 24 minutes till we get the big decision. And because the Fed has lost their potency, right, it's not as big of a deal as it used to be. This used to be all I would talk about for a week. Okay, so this, shoot, hold on here. Hold on. I'm going to make it so you can see it a little better. Make it a little bit, shoot. We'll do this. We'll go to the top. Here we go. Oh, this works perfect. All right, let's get the markers out. This is the current markers. Sorry, guys. This is the current rate that we're at, 3.5 to 3.75. As you can clearly see on this chart, there is now a 97% chance that they are not going to lower or raise rates tomorrow. Okay, there is a minuscule 3% chance that they will cut rates tomorrow. That's that little tiny bar right there. So we're basically being told that it's essentially a sure thing that interest rates will remain the same tomorrow. Now, it gets even more interesting when we go out to March, okay, where we have an 85% chance that rates will remain the same, 3.5 to 3.75. There is a 15%, but pretty much the market is saying there's a 6 out of 7 chance that at the meeting tomorrow and the meeting in March, the next meeting after that interest rates are going to remain the same. Why is that good news? Everybody in the gold and silver group, we want lower rates. They cut rates. Trump wants lower rates. It's going to happen. But think about it. The expectation at this point is that it can't be worse unless there's some, 5 sigma 1 in 14,000 year event where they raise rates tomorrow, which would be, there's like a 0% chance of that, according to the CME FedWatch tool. We're sitting in a position where the only thing that can happen in the next 2 meetings in terms of the Fed with rates would be that the odds of a rate cut would go up. So we're sitting in the real catbird seat. Okay. All right. Now, next. Oh, and the other thing that's going on, and I heard this from one of the people that I have the most respect for in the world of precious metals. They pointed out something very powerful that most of us haven't thought of. 3 years, like the US dollar, the DXY index, it's down, but it's still relatively high. Most people think, or would have thought, if 2 years ago we had told each other that gold would be at $5,000 per ounce and silver at 100 or more, we would have thought that the DXY, right, and the DXY is the dollar index, which most people erroneously assign some accuracy to in terms of it being able to represent the value of the US dollar. The DXY is nothing more than than a comparison of the worst fiat currencies probably ever created in the history. Okay, I will. Thank you. Susie wants. Okay, I'll get to the super chats in 1 second. But the fact that this is like the interest rate thing we just talked about. Interest rates and expectations for interest rates in the next 2 meetings can only work in our favor. They can only get moved down. The odds could go up that we could get an interest rate cut, which would be, in theory, good for gold and silver. The dollar, right? What this guy told me was that if 2 years ago you told us that gold's at 5,000, silver's at over $100 an ounce, that people would have thought that the DXY index would be at like 60 or 70. I'm going to show you the DXY index here. Again, guys, this is just a comparison of, it's like the cleanest shirt at the cleaners, or the best horse in the glue factory, or the best used car on the worst used car lot in any city throughout the United States. We are still at 96.3. Let me show you. I love to look at this. It's been a while since we looked at this for those of you who are new. This is a long-term chart of the DXY. Think long-term now. Thank you, Market Watch. This is powerful. Okay. If we draw a line on this graph at 100, that's that red line. Okay. And we realize that where we are now, okay, at 96, look at how much lower we've been in the past, okay, how much lower the DXY index can go. But what's even more interesting to look at is this period from here, let's say 2001 through around here, 2011. During that period of time, the price of silver went from under $5 an ounce to $50 per ounce. And what accompanied that, as you can see, is a big downdraft in the DXY. So if we get that again over here, let's say out over the next 3 to 4 years, which again, based on the fiscal and monetary policy being implemented by both our government and the Federal Reserve and the world geopolitical system, what's going on, that is not out of the question. And the fact that the countries of the world are, we'll get rid of that, are moving away from the dollar. Things are in our favor. Somebody had a question. Let's go out and see what's going on. Questions and comments, please. And we will go to the comment section. We got a couple of super chats. The first one from, hey, Renegade Designer, thank you again for your continued generosity. Never expected, always appreciated. Super, super appreciate that. Let's pull up Renegade. There's Renegade. Howdy, y'all. And we've got another question from, see if I can get this up, from Hughes 004. Hold on, see if I can read this. He says, the AE royal family to buy hundreds of billions of silver this year, predicting $250 per ounce by end of year. Your thoughts, Ron? I saw a report about that. I couldn't corroborate it, and I do my best to make sure. Thank you, Hugh, for the super chat, by the way. That I have like my data. Nobody can be 100% sure, but I try to be super. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I couldn't understand what you said, sweetheart.
Could you pull up that question?
Yes, I did. Okay. So yeah, there's Hugh's question. Susie's on a 10-second delay, so I apologize. We do the best we can, right? We're running a worldwide show out of our basement. Nonetheless, there's two things when we look at the Middle East when it comes to gold and silver. Number one, they have a history of loving precious metals. Okay, gold, silver, number one. Number two, there was a move by one of the, I think it may have been the United Arab Emirates, where they were going to start a tokenized silver product. Remember, they had like the world's biggest silver bar. So in tokenization, not to go down that rabbit hole, but the tokenization of silver, look, 5 years from now, you're going to say, I heard it first in Ron's basement. Tokenization of silver. It's like when the ETFs came out, right? Love them or hate them. All right. The ETFs, love it or hate it, crypto and tokenization. But tokenization of silver, where each token on the blockchain is fully backed by an ounce of silver in a vault, could create massive, massive demand for silver. So that's not out of the question. I saw that report. I'll try to dig into it some more because it is fascinating what is happening. Again, right? When we talk about China and India all the time, but there's also a massive demand for silver and gold coming from the Middle East countries. All right, guys, hold on here. We're going to ring the bell. It's been awesome. We have over 2,400 people on this live stream.
610 likes.
And 610 likes. I'm going to...
requesting the cowbell.
Okay, upstairs, Susie wants the cowbell. And I always do what Susie says. So let's see. I got the cowbell. But more importantly, right, this came from a local basement dweller, one of us. More importantly, guys, this is powerful. I think we've got a world record live stream going on right now for Ron's basement, and you are all people that want to learn and talk about silver and gold. Again, it's not my boyish good looks or dynamic personality. It's people around the world, and you guys are everywhere. I'm in St. Louis, home of the Gateway Arch, right? That big silver arch. But where are you? And then, I mean, when I ask people to put it in the chat, go ahead and throw it up. I'm not going to be able to read through it today, but we are every corner of the globe. This is a worldwide market. It's a big deal. So please don't forget to subscribe, and I'm going to ring the bell for you. That was from our friend Joe F. He brought it by the house one day. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of this incredible community, incredible movement that we have going on with precious metals. And I'll see you, yes, you, next time.